Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-639-4231. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. Be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com. Ciocca Corvettes. If you're a Corvette enthusiast, and I know you are since you're listening and watching Corvette Today, then you need to know about Ciocca Corvette. They're based in Atlantic City, where you can find over 100 new and pre-owned vets on the lot and inbound. Ciocca also ships Corvettes all over the country, custom ordered to your specifications. They're staffed with experienced pros who can answer all your questions. So don't compromise. Visit CioccaCorvette.com. That's CIOCCA Corvette.com and find out more. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. E5 Wheels. E5 Wheels is a passionate and dedicated wheel company that serves only Corvette. They make spun-forged wheels for your C8, C7, and C6 Corvette. With the best fitment in the industry, E5 Wheels ensures your wheels complement the aesthetics and functionality while optimizing the performance of your Corvette. Visit e5wheels.com or call them at 305-964-7429. Let me introduce you to United Restyling, where passion meets precision for your C8 Corvette. They specialize in premium interior and exterior trim products and kits designed to match the color of your Corvette. You'll get perfect fit and effortless installation every time. Check out the full line of Corvette products and kits at UnitedRestyling.com or call 860-718-9955 and use the promo code STEVE10 for a 10% discount on your total purchase. And a shout out to Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. I have a very unique episode for you today. David Smitheram from the UK has a very well-traveled C6 Corvette named Clive the Corvette. Now, David has taken Clive the Corvette across the U.S. and Europe to the Sahara Desert, even to the Arctic. Clive also has his own line of children's books, which we'll talk about a little bit more on the show. David, welcome to Corvette Today, my friend.
Oh, thanks for having us, Steve. Thank you. It's good to chat to you over the phone, and having met you back at the Bash earlier in the year at the Corvette Museum.
Yes, definitely. David, before we start talking about Clive the Corvette, tell me a little bit more about you. Where did you grow up, and did you come from a car family?
Yeah, so I was born in the county of Berkshire, but my growing up was done over in the east of England in a county called Norfolk. It's relatively well known in the country for its air bases. And of course, growing up in the 80s there, towards the end of the Cold War, there was still quite a lot of US service personnel stationed there, particularly in Lakenheath and Mildenhall. And obviously, they still have a presence there now. We used to see these funny looking sort of American cars that really stood out among our smaller, sort of fairly boring European cars at the time. About my family, Dad loved car racing, still does. So we used to go to our local track called Snetterton and watch racing when we could. And we'd see anything and everything on TV. So we didn't have a lot of US car racing. We'd sometimes have the odd NASCAR or IndyCar. Generally, it was European stuff, touring cars, Formula One, that sort of thing.
Right. I was going to say Formula One was just there at Silverstone a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was indeed, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, you started a company called Fast Films. Tell me more about that and some of the famous people you've worked with on Fast Films.
Yeah, it was a relatively short-lived company, but if you cast your mind back to the heady days of the early 2000s when car forums were just starting and YouTube hadn't even been invented, to watch car videos was quite unusual, especially onboard videos at hobbyist level. I worked out where to buy a suction mount from and a camcorder, and then I got into these things called bullet cameras and started creating just basic onboard videos on the roads and on the tracks. I found I was getting questions, so many questions from around the world saying, oh, that's really cool. How did you make it? What equipment did you use? I started copying and pasting about where I bought things from, how I made them. And then I thought, well, there's an opportunity here. In the end, it became the world's largest range of camera mounts for cars, and we ended up supplying people like National Geographic and the BBC. I filmed for McLaren back when Alonso and Hamilton were with them in the mid-2000s.
Wow.
We filmed for a piece at Goodwood, and that was shown worldwide on the Formula One channel. Yeah, I met Jeremy Clarkson and James May at a car show, and they were curious because they were having all sorts of problems back then with camera mounts, ruining shots because they'd fall off or rattle. So we got talking. It kind of came to a halt quite quickly. It lasted for all of a few years. I had some fun filming on track as well, I have to say. I went to places like Spa. It was a perfect excuse to go and chase after people on track and then produce a video for them. But then GoPros came along. There was no need for these sort of bulky cameras, in-bags, camcorders and bullet cameras and separate battery packs and all that kind of stuff. Kind of came to a halt, but it was good while it lasted.
Absolutely. And you're a licensed race car driver, aren't you, David?
Yeah, that's right. Just for fun. I'm just a hobbyist, but I've raced various things over the last 20 or so years. I started in Caterhams, in the little Caterham 7s, and I've raced Lotus Elise and various Porsche, BMW and Minis, and then some historic stuff over at Spa as well, doing some endurance racing.
That sounds like fun. Tell me about your first visit to America, David.
Yeah, we've always wanted to go. Finally, my wife and I had the money to go back in 2016. We did perhaps a stereotypical road trip holiday in the States. So we flew out to San Francisco and then we drove inland and did Yosemite and Mammoth and then came back to the coast. The whole trip revolved around this track day at Laguna Seca. I'd always wanted to visit. But from there, we did Monterey and PCH1 down to Los Angeles and back again. The Laguna Seca was the highlight.
That was cool. As a matter of fact, my wife and I flew to San Francisco for our honeymoon, and we rented a convertible and drove down the Pacific Coast Highway all the way down to San Simeon, and then we drove back up. We wanted to see it from both angles, going south and then coming north. That was what we did as well.
Nice.
That was your first introduction to Corvette during that trip, wasn't it, David?
Yeah, it was. So at the time, I had a low-mileage BMW Z4M. As part of that track day, I had got to know a guy online who owned one, a chap called Ivan, and he said, look, you're a racer as well. He was a racer. Just give me some gas money and come and drive the car, which was awesome. So I was there in the paddock. Of course, you've got so many great-sounding V8s. We have very few V8s in the UK. I thought, well, look, while I'm here, I've got to ask for a passenger lap. So there was an immaculate black anniversary Grand Sport. So I just got chatting to the guy and said, is it okay for a lap? So he took me out, and it wasn't the fastest laps ever, but I thought the sound and the feel of the car was great. That night we were in the hotel, my wife and I were in the hotel in Monterey, and I was looking at the prices. I believe what good value the Corvettes were, certainly in the States. They're a bit more expensive in the UK and Europe. Mm-hmm. It's almost a swear word, Steve, but at the time we had a convertible as well for this trip, and it was a Mustang. We liked it. It'd be cool to come back, do this all over again, but this time buy our own car and bring it back. That was what started the Corvette thing for me. I had seen Corvettes before, having been to the racetrack plenty of times and followed Le Mans and things. I was very familiar with their history and their sound and things, but that was the first time I think I'd ever been in one.
Very nice. All right, David, let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the beginnings of Clive the Corvette and where he went from there. That's coming up next here on Corvette Today.
Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome is the buzz of the Corvette community. But now, Wheelcraft is proud to announce they can now do custom finishes for your OEM wheels, including the bronze wheel color option. And you still get the Wheelcraft 5-year warranty on all wheels. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchanges for C4 through C8 Corvettes, or they can apply the PVD chrome finish to your current wheels. Buying a new Corvette? Wheelcraft will work with your Chevrolet dealership to get your PVD chrome wheels there on time. You can drive away with your new wheels already installed. Doing an R8C delivery at the National Corvette Museum? Wheelcraft has partnered with the NCM Motorsports Park to do wheel exchanges once your R8C delivery is completed. You'll drive home from the NCM with your new Wheelcraft wheels. Plus, you still get free lifetime access to the Wheelcraft pit crew. So visit wheelcraft.com or call them at 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The National Corvette Restorer Society is a proud sponsor of Corvette Today. Are you already an NCRS member? If not, you should consider joining, and here's why. The NCRS means community. We're a community of individuals who love the Corvette hobby and enjoy the fellowship that NCRS provides. We have NCRS chapters throughout the U.S. and Canada where members can meet monthly and share in the enjoyment of the Corvette with like-minded people. NCRS means excellence. NCRS trains some of the best and most educated judges and informed owners in the car collector world. NCRS means inclusion. Owners of both classic and new Corvettes are welcome. We offer flight and concourse judging for 53 through 07 model years and sportsman awards for Corvettes ranging from 53 through 2025. NCRS means leadership. With over 10,000 members, NCRS researches, writes, publishes, and distributes tech manuals and judging guides for the 53 through 07 Corvettes. No other Corvette organization does this, and they're available for purchase. Members also receive the bi-monthly and award-winning Restore magazine and Driveline magazine throughout the year. We also host an extensive technical discussion board at ncrs.org. Finally, NCRS means value. Many of our prestigious awards can and often do increase the value of the cars that achieve our awards. Whether you own a 53 Corvette or the latest 25 model, the NCRS has a place for you. Check us out at ncrs.org.
Hi, I'm Mark Falter, host of the Retirement Income Hour podcast and Corvette enthusiast. I know when I bought my Z06, I was thinking two things. These cars are fantastically fast, and wow, are they expensive. Owning a Corvette isn't just about driving fast. It's about living life in the fast lane. But are your finances keeping up? On my podcast, I'll make wealth management as smooth as your Corvette on the open road. Whether it's planning a retirement, building your investments, or how in the heck do I get my retirement accounts to pay for this Corvette, I have got you covered. Search the Retirement Income Hour podcast wherever you find your podcasts, and let's shift your finances into overdrive. I'll see you on the open road financially and literally.
Investment advisory services offered through Mid-American Wealth Advisory Group, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm.
I'm Harlan Charles, and you're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Wheelcraft carries all the latest factory wheel designs for the C8 Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray, plus popular wheel designs from previous generations. Now, along with bright chrome and black chrome, Wheelcraft now offers bronze and custom colors at half the cost of OEM. So visit wheelcraft.com today or just give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is David Smitheram. He has the well-traveled C6 Corvette named Clive the Corvette. And in this second segment, we're going to talk about the beginnings of Clive the Corvette. All right, David, it's 2017. You just got a shotgun ride in a C6 Grand Sport, and there was no looking back. Tell me how you found and purchased Clive the Corvette.
Yeah, so once we flew back to the UK, I started looking at, just casually, as I mentioned before, I had a really immaculate low-mileage BMW Z4M. I just finished writing a book about it that's been published. It was a great car, but I fell into that trap of starting to worry about how miles would affect value.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somebody that likes using a car. With the budget I had and knowing that I wanted to actually use and enjoy the car, I started looking at the other end of the scale and high mileage cars. I didn't want something with a title. I didn't want something written off, but I started to look at higher mileage ones. It was just a few days before Christmas 17, so almost a year had passed. The Corvette forum, which was pretty much bookmarked, I was checking it every day, had an advert for a one-owner, clean title, really high mileage C6. It was a base model, 190,000 miles, but it was $9,995 and a manual at that. It had to be a manual for me.
Of course.
So I quickly got in touch with a gentleman who's called Jay, and he said, look, thanks very much, but you're actually third in the list, because he had loads of interest.
Wow.
I said, look, I'm really keen. He knew I was from England. And I said, I won't mess you around. I'm a genuine buyer. He said, leave it with me. And I said, phone anytime, doesn't matter about the time difference. 2 days later, I think I got a text message saying, good news, if you're still interested, you're now number one in the queue. So I put a deposit down. Just a few weeks later into January, Elizabeth, my wife, and I flew out and went to pick him up.
That's amazing. Now, it's a red C6 coupe, and you drove it from California all the way to Texas, and you went on some other notable places in the U.S. Talk about some of the places that Clive the Corvette has been here in the U.S.
Yeah, on that particular trip, because he's been back again recently, but on that particular trip, we went from California. We tried to do bits of historic Route 66, and we went up to Monument Valley, from Arizona into Utah, across into Colorado. We did Grand Canyon, of course. You got to do Grand Canyon. That was incredible, from the South Rim.
Yes.
Down into New Mexico and Texas. We coincided it with a track day at Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we got good passenger laps there. For that particular one, because I still had some distance to go and it was an unknown car, I didn't take part in the full track day sessions. We just did like parade laps at lunchtime, but that was still cool. Just as a side story, a few years later, when we started a family, we got a little son called Austin, named after that trip, that circuit.
Very nice. Now, speaking of racetracks, Clive the Corvette has been to a lot of different racetracks around the world. Where have you been and where have you competed on racetracks?
Yeah, I mean, the list of tracks I've competed on in Clive is pretty extensive, but the circuits I've taken Clive to, Nürburgring a number of times in Germany and Hockenheim in Germany. Just recently got to drive on the NCM Motorsports Park, which was awesome. I've driven him at the northernmost circuit in the world, which is called ACR, Arctic Circle Raceway.
Right.
I've competed a number of times at Silverstone and come awfully close to winning a race there. He's finished second and third overall, so I need to go one better next year. He's done time attack at Brands Hatch. He's won championships at Knock Hill, which is the Scottish racetrack, which is brilliant. And I've driven it at my local track, Castle Combe, because I'm down here in Wiltshire. For those of you that know the States, I'm down in the southwest of England.
Let's talk about mods that you've done for Clive the Corvette. Being a mod guy myself, I always love to hear about what modifications people and Corvette owners do to their cars. Tell me a little bit more about what you've done to Clive.
Yeah, definitely. I saw that for myself when I saw your lovely C8 at the Bash.
Yes.
I describe it as it's not an out-and-out track car because it's still my daily driver. So it's OEM plus. It's still comfortable enough for a road trip and commuting, but it's a bit more focused now for the track. So it's got a 3-inch CO6 exhaust system from front to back with a bi-mode exhaust. The biggest single thing I did, bearing in mind its base model, was shorter final drive. I've got 4.1 gears, and that transformed it. It went from being a cruiser to feeling more like a sports car. It's got an alloy flywheel, Z06 clutch. It's got Z06 sway bars, and I've stubbornly kept to the monoleaf springs as well. I know most people, when they upgrade the suspension, jump straight to coilovers, but I've stuck with the leaf springs. That's how they came from the factory. So I've got a Z06 rear and a Hyperco T1 front. Matched to that, I've got KW V3 double adjustable dampers. So no coil springs, just adjustable dampers, KW. They were brilliant. So when I first got them, I couldn't really very easily adjust the things. So they're double adjustable. They were a bit fiddly. I sent an email, not of complaint, but just of feedback with a video to Klaus in Germany. I've never known service like it. He took it seriously. He passed the comments to the engineers in Germany and referred to their HQ in California as well. And they re-engineered them with new, easier-to-turn anodized adjusters. So if you now buy a set of KWV3s, they've been partly developed by Clive the Corvette and some excellent service. So I had to give them a shout-out.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, thanks. I had to do a bit of work with cooling because the base model doesn't come with any sort of oil cooling. So it's got an improved racing oil cooler and thermostat, improved racing sump baffles, a power steering cooler. I killed the power steering originally because it didn't have a cooler. There's been quite a bit of while I'm in there. So while I've had to replace the odd thing, if there's an opportunity to kind of upgrade or strengthen or replace, I've done that. Although it's still on a stock cam, stock tune, I've kind of done all of the supporting mods. So if I fancy fitting on, I can. So it's got things like different push rods and rocker bearings and oil pump and various bits, valve springs and collets and things like that.
Well, that's great. You've done a lot of work to Clive. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's more on brakes and seats and tyres. It depends. You could be here all night, Steve. There's a few things, but it's still comfortable on the road.
That's wonderful. Yeah, if you looked at my mod list, David, you would just shake your head and do a facepalm, that's for sure. You bought Clive with 190,000 miles on him. How many miles does Clive have on him now?
It's just about 241,000, a few thousand miles past the average distance to the moon.
Very nice. Well, David, let's take our final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about Clive and some of the other things that are related to Clive. We're going to talk about the children's books. All that's coming up next here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, Corvette lovers, this is Brian Sarr from IntelliSense Family Office. You've formerly known us as True Wealth and Company. First off, a huge congratulations to Steve Garrett on celebrating 6 amazing years of Corvette Today. We've been proud sponsors every mile of the way. You know the thrill and drive and the pride of ownership, but here's the big question. Do you have the same confidence in managing your wealth? At IntelliSense Family Office, we specialize in helping high net worth individuals like you protect, grow, and enjoy their wealth. Whether you're a successful entrepreneur, a professional athlete, or someone who's worked hard to achieve your financial goals, we've got you covered with personalized expert advice. We understand the unique challenges you face and the dreams you have for the future. From advanced tax planning to succession planning, we provide comprehensive services tailored to your needs. Our goal? To give you peace of mind so you can focus on what you love. Ready to take your financial management to the next level? Visit IntelliSense.com or reach out to us today at 913-653-8783. Let's drive your financial success together. I'm Brian Sarf, and I look forward to helping you live the dream. Save the wave and see you on the road. Investment advisory services offered through IntelliSense Investment Solutions Incorporated, an SEC registered investment advisor.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
Rev up your ride with the ultimate upgrade. The Radiator Grill Store is your go-to destination for top-notch C8 Corvette Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray accessories. Elevate your style with custom-painted engine bay covers, sleek front splitters, and side skirts that scream sophistication. Keep your C8 protected with premium Radiator Grill screens. Stand out from the crowd at car shows and beyond. Use code CT10 for an exclusive 10% discount off your total purchase at RadiatorGrillStore.com. Don't miss out on turning heads. Upgrade your Corvette today.
Hi, this is Kirk Benyon, and you're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Wheelcraft carries all the latest factory wheel designs for the C8 Stingray, Z06, and E-Ray, plus popular wheel designs from previous generations. Now, along with bright chrome and black chrome, Wheelcraft now offers bronze and custom colors at half the cost of OEM. So visit wheelcraft.com today or just give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is David Smitheram. David has a C6 Corvette named Clive the Corvette. We're talking all about Clive in today's show. Clive has been all around the world, David. Tell me where else you've been with Clive and any of your future trips that you have planned.
Yes, he's been in a lot of places in Europe, down to the south of Spain, France, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, all over the place, all over the British Isles as well. As you mentioned earlier on, I took him down to the Sahara Desert in North Africa through Morocco, and he's been to the very highest point in Europe over the most northerly highway, most northerly city in the world, all over the place. And then just last week, he's just got back to me. I picked him up from Southampton, from the port in the south of England, because he's just come back from a big trip in the States, which is where, of course, we met in April.
Very nice. Now, I think this is so cool. You've written 4 children's books about Clive the Corvette. Tell me more about these children's books.
Yeah, so if you cast your mind back to those days, I don't know about the States, but in the midst of COVID, we were locked down. The UK kind of ground to a halt. And I found myself with no work for a short time. I'd been writing a blog on the Corvette forum about Clive's adventures so far, and it seemed to attract lots of interest. I'd mentioned to you that I'd written a factual book about BMW Z4s some years before, and that was hard work. It felt like being back at school. It was a deadline. Oh, God, it was boring research, and I was proud I got it done. And I remember thinking at the time, I think I've got another book in me, but it'll be a lot easier if I write a children's book. I was wrong. It's just as hard. What I've done is used the actual photos and the adventures where I've taken the Corvette and kind of cartoonized them. Spent a lot of time on Photoshop and tried to create a young children's book. There's 4 of them now. The first one is the original America trip. I've written a book about where he's been in Europe, then to find camels down in the Sahara Desert, and then the most recent one was last year's trip, where I went all the way to the Arctic and back.
Wow.
It's been cool. They're not bestsellers, but my son loves them. I've had some lovely messages from people around the world that have enjoyed reading them to their kids and grandkids. They're colourful. I've hidden the animals that I found along the way in the pictures. Even 2-year-olds seem to like them, but I'd say they're probably best for like 5, 6-year-olds.
That's wonderful. Clive the Corvette Around the World books. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and a great deal of thanks to Mike and Jane Buchanan from the UK. Mike is the UK ambassador to the National Corvette Museum. He's helped me get the books for sale in the National Corvette Store, thanks to Justin there, the store manager. We did some book signings at the Bash earlier in the year, which was a privilege. They've now gone, because the best-selling one by far is the US one, so they stock the US book only. If you fancy looking at any of the others, you can buy them around the world from Amazon.
That's wonderful. And David, you've also written a book called The Corvette C6, The Essential Buyer's Guide. With Clive the Corvette having 240,000 plus miles on it, I would think this buyer's guide has got to be fantastic. Talk a little bit about the buyer's guide. What has broken down in Clive, and where can you get this essential buyer's guide for the C6?
Yeah, thank you. Going back to when I bought Clive, I had months and months of research, which was fun, and you can find everything online. There was no one good place to find all the information. It took months of reading threads and various old guides. The guides that are out there, they'll pick up on the harmonic balancer and a couple of other bits, but they don't go into much more detail. So I've used the experience of what's gone wrong on my car, what's gone right with it, talking to other people, researching on the forums and so on, and condensed that information just into one place. So it's a pocket book. It's just over 100 pages. It's got loads of photos, most of which I've taken myself. Inevitably, when you thrash a car, a high mileage car on track, things do break. But I have to say the C6 has been probably the most reliable sports car I've ever owned. The engine's still original, the LS2 is still original. Probably the main thing is a lifter started to tick, so I changed the lifters. At the same time I discovered the cam chain tensioner had broken. I wouldn't have known, I just found it in bits in the sump, but the engine just kept on ticking. Went through plenty of brake discs that were cracking just with the heat on track until I switched to EBC and Mintex. They've been brilliant since then. The odd radiator split, that sort of thing, but really very little has gone wrong with it that I haven't self-inflicted. You know, I can't blame it for an aircon pump that broke because I drove it into the sand in the desert.
Yeah, we can blame Clive on that one, can we?
Yeah, or me.
And you also have an extensive YouTube channel. Talk about that.
Yeah, if you search for Clive the Corvette, you can find the channel. I don't have thousands of subscribers, but there's some interesting videos. There's plenty of track videos on there, but with the help of a guy I know, UK guy called Mark Peters, who is just a brilliant videographer and editor, he came with me as part of the team when I did the Arctic trip, and he came with me to this US trip that I've just come back from. He's in the process of editing that video, so if you can, check out the channel, Clive the Corvette, subscribe, because the new US video will hit the channel within the next month or so.
That sounds great. And let's tell everybody about your website and where they can get in contact with you, David. And also, is there anybody you'd like to shout out to?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's racelife.co.uk. So it's racelife.co.uk. That's different from the .com you guys normally use. Most of it links to the socials and YouTube channel, but you can drop me a line there if you want to drop me a message. I do get the odd message now and again from other Corvette users, which is cool. But yeah, lots of people to thank along the way. Thank you to yourself for giving me this opportunity. I've followed you and the podcast for years, so to be talking to you is a bit surreal. Mike and Jane Buchanan, I can't thank enough. I've already mentioned them. For this last trip, I need to thank General Motors and GM Europe. They've helped spread the word on their social channel. Morgan Watts, the NCM Motorsports Park marketing manager, and I got chatting to her at the Bash. She very kindly arranged for me to thrash Clive around the track, chasing one of their C8s. That was a brilliant experience. Stephen Johnson from the National Council of Corvette Clubs. Have you met Stephen before?
No, I haven't.
Fascinating guy. Thanks to him and Frank Stork from the Cape Kennedy Corvette Club that led to probably one of the most memorable experiences of my life. Clive was approaching the mileage to the moon, 238,000 miles. Corvette's always had this connection, hasn't it, to the astronauts, to the space program, to NASA.
Yes.
The idea was pitched. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of have Clive there at the same time as passing the miles to the moon at the Kennedy Space Center? And it took months of organisation, and with thanks to people like Mike, the ladies at the Kennedy Space Center, thanks to Stephen Johnson and Frank, as I mentioned, we managed to set up this amazing photo shoot in April. I had Clive there on the rocket garden. You've got all these fabulous rockets in the background. We also had Joe Crosby there, who's the owner of Neil Armstrong's Corvette. We had the place to ourselves for a couple of hours, just taking photos. I got to sit in Neil Armstrong's C2. It was surreal, a fantastic experience. So those people deserve all of the thanks. There's nothing in it for them. They just went out of their way to help me fulfill this sort of dream.
That's wonderful.
So I did this fabulous thing in Florida, having shipped Clive over. And then I ended up at the book signing at the Bash. I flew back into the States in June. From there, we did Tail of the Dragon and Cherola Skyway. Courtesy of Yokohama Tyres, we went up to the IMSA round at Watkins Glen.
Oh.
Yeah, we did Niagara Falls, went into Ontario, into Canada, did Vermont, and ended up back at New York. Cool second part of the road trip. I need to thank Yokohama Tyres. I've been using Yokohama Tyres from the UK and US for the last about 6 years now. Need to thank Liquimoly. I attribute some of the reliability of the LS engine to Liquimoly oils. I buy them through Matty Evans Racing. They've helped support the trips. The brakes from EBC and Mintex and KW Suspension I've mentioned. And then the final shout out to lovely guys back at the Corvette Museum. You mentioned them, met them before, Steve. Rod and Mac. They both deal with the pre-delivery NCM experience.
Yes.
Rod manages it. Mac's the guy that does the cleaning, and he was a pleasure to meet as well.
Rod Keller is the guy in charge of the R8C delivery, and Mac, back in the back, is the one in charge of cleaning all the cars. They are great people. They are fantastic. David, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Corvette Today. Love hearing about Clive, and if you've got some updates coming up in the future, make sure you get in touch.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and all the listeners listening. I have a trip planned or in mind for 2027 to recreate what would be the 20th anniversary of Car and Driver doing the Dempster Highway. We'll see. I need some sponsorship and some good luck for that to happen, but that's the idea.
Sounds great. Again, thanks for being here, David. Cheers, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. Ciocca Corvette at CIOCCACorvette.com. E5 Wheels at E5Wheels.com. IntelliSense at IntelliSense.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. Mark Falter with the Retirement Income Hour podcast. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.